My name is Andy Stenros. I'm a history major. I'm currently a junior. I was a transfer student. Last semester was my first semester here at Dominican. And I've been volunteering at the Ritter Center Food Pantry under Sean Marshall. Very kind of similar vibe, just being immersed in a place that is such a crucial resource for so many people around here was really important to me, and really, I got a lot of really great things, especially things that I could apply to class from going. I was able to use my active listening skills, which as a future teacher, it takes a totally different shape when you go from being a student and hear active listening students to using active listening outside of a classroom. So I was very excited to use that knowledge. I also, like a lot of other people here, I'm close enough to this community. I'm from Petaluma and I commute from there. And I never really spent a lot of time in Marin County before this experience. I'm a commuter, I come to campus, I go to classes, I take 17 units, I go home, sleep, repeat the next day. So having this experience and working at the Ritter Center was very crucial to my understanding of the community that Dominican sits in. I think part of it was that I knew of Marin County, but I was never part of it until now. And I think that was a really big takeaway for me. I want to introduce a quote that I really liked. It's from Paulo Freire. It says, "I like to be human because of my unfinishedness. I know that I am conditioned, yet conscious of such conditioning, I know that I can go beyond it, which is the essential difference between conditioned and determined existence." And that's something that I have been expanding on for a large part of my life, actually, and I didn't really get to apply it to my service learning until now. And just the idea that as students and as humans, we are constantly reshaping ourselves and we're unfinished. But volunteering, I feel, has helped me feel whole in that way. I'm not new to volunteering. I grew up as a Girl Scout, and I did Girl Scouts from kindergarten up until high school. We did a lot of giving back to the community. I'm also very involved in my church, which we try to do a lot of. It's called the Diaconia, which is great for giving back and a whole project like that. But I think just having this as part of a commitment from the school really shows me that Dominican in this community cares about the people around them. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways for me, that people here care. And that was very cool and unique because it's so easy to turn a blind eye and not worry about it. Or like me, I was commuting to and from. I didn't really spend a lot of time downtown. I didn't see a lot of the poverty, and I thought, oh, Marin County, it's very affluent, they're very healthy there, it's very crunchy, that type of thing. But it's just a very different vibe when you're actually immersed in the society. In the style of my course, I didn't want to talk about one specific single story because I feel that my experience as a whole in talking to so many different people was so unique, and that I really got to practice a lot of cultural humility. A lot of times when people would come in and they'd ask for certain foods, it kind of took some learning experience too, because you had to kind of bob and weave through different circumstances. Some people couldn't really chew a lot, some people didn't have can openers. So that was something that you work through, and that something you very much so take for granted, because first of all you're thinking, this is such a great resource, so many people can come here, they can get the food, they can go. Some people can't carry the food that they have. So they use this service and they grab what they can, and it's not something that a lot of people take advantage of. It's actually very much so people come and get what they need, and they're very, very grateful. So yeah, and just learning about the people too. I met a lot of really amazing people who have lived in San Rafael their whole life, and that due to the changing economics and housing situations around here, me and Sean chatted and he said it was like 75% raise for rent in the last few years. That these people have been living in San Rafael their whole life, and just now, once they become retired, it's not conducive to the raising prices. So people who have lived here, lived in this environment for so long, are just now kind of falling off what is relevant to the community here. So I think that while this was kind of a tough semester for me to start service learning, it's my first class that I've taken that has a service learning aspect to it. Because I'm a junior, I'm also doing my internship, and I take 17 units, so I was like, in the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so overwhelming, I don't know how I'm going to make it work. But you really do, you make it work, you have that consistency, and it really makes a big difference in the way that you see yourself as a student, as a member of the community. and overall how it affects my major as well. Since I'm a history major, I really wanted to point out that the use of primary sources and context is so important to historians, but a thing that people don't really notice about it is that we're currently making and creating history. So my own experience at Ritter Center is almost like I'm taking my own primary sources, so that maybe one day when people are reflecting back on the housing crisis in the Bay Area, this is part of that experience.
Thank you.